Good afternoon, everyone. Just before we begin this afternoon, we thank the members of the Grand Prairie media who are here and media members who are dialing in online. Once our speakers are finished, we will open it up to questions and answers. Please identify yourself, and you will be given one question and one follow-up. Let's begin this afternoon by introducing Grand Prairie MLA Tracy Allard.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you this afternoon in Grand Prairie in our beautiful summer weather on Friday, the 13th of August. As I was introduced, I am Tracy Allard, the MLA for Grand Prairie, and it's truly my honor and privilege to serve this region and this province at this time in history, which I think a lot of people don't say. But I would also say that I love days like this where we can share some good news. It's time for Albertans to hear some good news, and it's my tremendous honor and pleasure to have some colleagues with me today to share that with you. First and foremost, I'm pleased to be joined by members of RMA, the Rural Municipalities of Alberta's Northern District, at their meeting today, and a special shout out and welcome to Paul McLaughlin, their president. We are all here to celebrate Alberta's recovery plan. We are putting Albertans back to work in every corner of this province. And we have an ambitious and bold strategy to create jobs, to build and rebuild, and to diversify. And I want to begin by introducing my friend, my colleague, the new Minister of Transportation, and the first minister that is a female. So I welcome my friend, my dear friend, the Honorable Rajan Sawhney, to the microphone.
Thank you and good afternoon, everyone. And thank you, MLA Allard, for that introduction. It is such a pleasure to be here today in your beautiful constituency of Grand Prairie. I'd also like to acknowledge my colleague Travis Tays, Minister of Finance and MLA for Grand Prairie Wapiti, and Leanne Beaupre, Reeve of the County of Grand Prairie. And thank you to everybody for joining us today. As many of you know, I was appointed to my role as Transportation Minister just over a month ago. Over the past few weeks, I've had the chance to travel this great province of ours and see firsthand all the work that the ministry is doing. From fixing our roads and bridges to filling potholes, repainting lines and sealing cracks, it has been and will continue to be a very busy construction season. Because as you know how the saying goes, in Alberta it's either winter or construction season. As part of Alberta's recovery plan, I'm very pleased to announce $31.5 million in strategic transportation infrastructure program funding for 48 new projects. This funding, yes, it's wonderful, wonderful news. This funding is part of the $103.4 million budget provided over 3 years from 2021 to 22 to 2023 to 24. STIP funding helps municipalities by supporting upgrades for local bridges, roads, and community airports. We know that these investments are sound because municipalities looked at their lists of priorities and told us what projects are most critical to their communities. So tremendous input and engagement. Alberta's government is investing heavily in our most important resources, and that is our people, Albertans. Funding through STIP increases the capacity of municipal transportation infrastructure to support economic growth of our rural communities. And let me just emphasize that this is a priority for the Government of Alberta. STIP's 4 programs provide funding across several streams. Local bridge road projects to replace or upgrade aging bridges and bridge-size culverts. Community airport projects, including runway lighting and pavement rehabilitation. Resource road projects, like the one we're announcing today for the County of Grand Prairie, which includes building new or improving existing local roads and bridges where local roads connect with provincial highways and supports industrial growth, and local municipal initiatives, which include projects such as municipal transportation projects that address significant local or regional pressures. Ultimately, the STIP program aims to safely and efficiently improve the movement of goods and people and increase the capacity of municipal transportation infrastructure to support economic growth. Strong local economies have and will continue to contribute to Alberta's overall economic strength. This investment will contribute to our province's continued economic recovery and, importantly, support more than 260 jobs through construction. Other STIP projects receiving funding in 2021 include replacing bridges in the municipal district of Willow Creek, girder maintenance and other work in the county of Barrhead, improving resource roads in the county of Grand Prairie and access roads in Peavine Métis Settlement and Big Lakes County, and paving the airport runway in Wetaskiwin. These projects are important in supporting municipalities in developing and maintaining key local transportation infrastructure that will promote economic growth and improve travel for residents and industry alike. The link between strong infrastructure and investment is clear. You must have one to build the other. I'm going to repeat that. You must have one to build the other. Here in the Grand Prairie area, this new STIP funding will go towards resource road improvements to the proposed nautical methanol facility site, which will also benefit other industries operating in this area, including the forestry sector. Alberta, like many places, is now on a path to recovery. STIP funding will play an important role in this recovery. This program will help connect communities, improve safety and travel on provincial roads and highways, and very, very importantly, get Albertans back to work. We are building on our economic strengths to attract investment and position our province for prosperity. It's a plan for today that provides tremendous hope for the future. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. And now it's my honor and privilege to introduce Minister Toews.
Well, thank you, Minister Sawney, and welcome to the region. We absolutely appreciate you coming up to make this announcement with us today. I just want to again acknowledge MLA Allard and the council members here today, and a special thank you to our MP Chris Workington for joining us today in this announcement. As a government, we remain laser focused on economic recovery and growth, and investments through the Strategic Infrastructure Transportation Program are part of that effort. Projects we're announcing today will improve the accessibility and movement of goods and people in the region. They'll enhance safety and efficiency, and they'll extend the service life of key transportation infrastructure in the region. In the Grand Prairie area, we're investing over $2.6 million in the STIP program on key infrastructure investments. $1.7 million is committed to resource road improvements. This will benefit major employers in energy and forestry, and eventually, we believe, the Nautical's GP methanol plant, which will be located in the region. Almost $900,000 will be invested in 3 major bridge culvert projects, 2 in the county of Grand Prairie and 1 in the MD of Greenview. Strategic infrastructure is a key component of Alberta's economic recovery plan. In fact, over the next 3 years, Alberta will be investing $20.7 billion in strategic infrastructure investments across the province. These investments will improve our competitiveness and efficiency, and they will also provide over 50,000 direct and 40,000 indirect jobs for Albertans. As a government, we recognize the incredible economic contribution that rural Alberta makes to Alberta's economy. And the STIP projects that we're funding today will improve this region's competitiveness, and it will improve the opportunity for small businesses in this region as we position the province for economic recovery and growth. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Toews. As the host of this event, it's my pleasure now to introduce you to Reeve Leanne Beaupre from the County of Grand Prairie, another friend and colleague that I have the pleasure to introduce you here to today. Leanne?
Thank you, Emily Allard. Minister Sawney, Minister Toews, Thank you so much for making this wonderful announcement today here in Grande Prairie. I'd be remiss first of not saying thank you very much to my colleagues, both Paul McLaughlin from the RMA, Chris Workington, our representative in the federal government for the Grande Prairie constituency, as well as my council members, many of which you see standing back here behind me. Without the support of this team and the colleagues from all across the Peace area, we would not be able to advocate to the government on behalf of these types of programs. We're so thankful for the government and their support for this program. This money and this initiative will go to creating a safer resource road, making those strategic improvements to this resource road, as Minister Taves had said, which will ultimately lead to the nautical methanol plant here in the county of Grande Prairie. But I think it's important to recognize that this money will also help with those jobs that are already here in the area. It will continue to support those people that are hard at work in the county of Grande Prairie and in the region. And it'll attract an investment from outside of the area and specifically internationally. And we are so very thankful for the opportunity to have and host the minister here today and her colleagues. And thank you very much for taking the opportunity today to come to the county of Grande Prairie and make this announcement.
So again, it's a great day to be here in Grande Prairie announcing some good news to the residents of our region and ultimately to the residents right across the province as we work towards Alberta's recovery plan, a plan to create jobs, a plan to build, and a plan to diversify, to build better for the future of our province and for future generations. And with that, I'm going to conclude our announcement and turn it over to the Press Secretary for Minister Sawhney for questions.
Thank you, MLA Allard. We do have some local media with us this afternoon. They're figuring out which one's going to ask first. So please step to the mic, please introduce yourself, and we can ask a question and we'll give you a follow-up as well.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Shane Clausing with Everything GP News in Grande Prairie. I guess this question is more for Riva Liambo-Prey, but you kind of touched on it. The county obviously has a lot of projects happening in it right now. Just how critical is this funding the province has given today for the county and those projects moving forward?
Thank you very much for the question. This project is very important. It's part of our strategic network. So the funding itself will go towards Resources Road, which this location is just adjacent to. It will run through down into the river valley, and as was mentioned before, it will support multiple industries, forestry, as well as our energy partners in the area. County of Grande Prairie is committed to making that investment to continue to provide safe and effective road systems in the County of Grande Prairie.
And a follow-up?
This one's for the minister. Just you said you've been on the job for a month. Just what is the biggest need you've seen from small municipalities in terms of like infrastructure and transportation resources that smaller communities like Grande Prairie could use?
Yes, so some of the most frequent comments I've been hearing are around safety, actually maintaining roads and highways that do need to be paved or spend or require more resources in terms of making sure that they're maintained. But certainly there is tremendous conversations around additional infrastructure, and we're very excited about the bridge over in Tompkins Landing. That will be the first user pay project in the province, and there's lots and lots of excitement around that project. But overall, the thoughts and the comments that I've heard around the province have mainly been around safety and accessibility of the roads.
Thank you.
Operator, I understand we have a caller on the line. Could you put that caller through, please?
There are no questions on the phone at this time.
All right, they must have bailed. Anybody else here? Question for the minister? Minister Sawhney, Minister Taves, Reeve Beaupre, we're good. Great job, everybody. Thank you very much. And thank you for the crowd and everybody who tuned in online. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, everyone.